MLA Citation, a quick and concise guide. First of all, parenthetical citation is referring to the works of other authors in the body of your report. This is very necessary to avoid plagiarism, and it can vary depending upon the medium you are citing. A book is cited differently than a magazine, which is different from a newspaper, which is different from an online source. The most common method, however, is to include the author's last name and page number in parentheses following the source. For example, Catching Fireflies is a Great Idea from Edmonds 23 is an example of a direct quote, whereas Mrs. Edmonds says that catching fireflies can be fun is an example of a paraphrase. Again, both sources need the page number and the source. It's very important that the first word in the parentheses, which would be called your signal word, matches the corresponding first word on the works cited page. And you must cite everything you have taken from your source. The author did a lot of work compiling that information, so they must receive credit. However, common knowledge does not need to be cited, such as the grass is green, the sky is blue, things such as that nature. If there is no known author, then you would cite an abbreviated version of the article title, punctuated correctly along with the page number if you have it. For example, "The morning air is crisp today" comes from People magazine, page 45. Now, when you paraphrase something, is much different than when you directly quote it. You would use a direct quote only when the author presents an idea or concept that cannot be said any other way, or when the quote supports your argument. A direct quote should be put in quotation marks followed by the author's last name and page number. When you paraphrase information, a good strategy would be to read the information first, then look away from your source and write down a summary of what you remember. Check the original source to make sure that you have changed the sentence structure and the wording to make that paraphrase your own work. The author's last name and page number should always appear after a paraphrase because, once again, you took that information from their source. Why do we do this? It's very important to give the author credit for their work. If you do not give the author credit, it's considered plagiarism, which could get you into a lot of trouble. By citing the work, you provide the reader with the information to go back and look up your source and verify your work. And if the reader would like some additional information on your topic, it gives them a place to go to start finding more information. And there are many, many special circumstances for citation. For example, a book without an author, a book with multiple authors, authors with the same last name. There are many, many situations. So when you are looking for one of these special cases, you could look in the Little Oiler Handbook, or you could go online at the Purdue OWL Writing Lab. Both are excellent resources, and there are many of these circumstances to look up. And the last thing you will do is compile a works cited page. Again, the first word of each entry should match the first word of the parenthetical citation, or your signal word. You would then compile a list of the sources that you actually used in the body of your report. Make sure they're in correct MLA format. Always a good idea to do this as you're writing down the source. It will save you time later. Then take a list of these sources and put them in alphabetical order according to the author's last name. If and only if there is no author, then you would alphabetize them by the first word in the title. The words "works cited" should be centered at the top of the page, and then you indent the second, third, and all other lines of each entry. Once you are finished, your works cited page would be the last page of your report. For a good model of what a works cited page should look like, again, look at the Little Oiler Handbook or go online to the Purdue OWL Writing Lab. And once you've completed this, you are finished with your report.